the effectiveness of the salt, so it can try to melt stuff while it's still in the 20s today before it drops down to single digits. We expect that our plows and salt treatments can get to level 1 and 2 roads pretty well today. As I came up to the Emergency Operations Center, I took Broadway and Hall of Fame, and they were still very treacherous but passable, particularly if you have a four-wheel drive vehicle. But again, we do want to encourage people to stay home if possible, and if they do have to leave home, to just exercise extreme caution. The Emergency Ops Center has been up and running since 8 a.m. yesterday. We have over 18 organizations represented here, coordinating across the community. That's health-based organizations, and obviously our dispatchers with 911 and our ambulance services, along with all the city departments, transportation engineering, public service, KPD, KFD. We are supporting our 911 operators and dispatchers to make sure they get to and from the places they need to go just to get to work and field those calls. I think we had over 1,800 calls yesterday, but again, mostly those were people running into ditches and getting disabled vehicles and reporting those and getting people rescued from those situations. So again, the best possible thing to do is stay home if at all possible. For those people who do not have homes to go to, we are grateful that we have our regular overnight shelter at the Knoxville Area Rescue Ministry on Broadway that's serving hundreds of people. We also served and helped the community coordinate 3 additional warming centers, which have been used. We had 123 people used those last night, and that's at Cokesbury Church in West Knoxville, Vestal United Methodist Church in South Knoxville, and Magnolia Avenue United Methodist Church in East Knoxville. So big thanks to not just those churches who are doing yeoman's duty, but also all the many people who've been sending food, sending bedding, sending cash to support the people who are providing shelter. And I do want to just put a particular request out for more volunteers if you can safely get to those warming centers, and there's ways to sign up online so it's coordinated and you can go when they have the needs. And also we still especially need food donations at Magnolia Avenue United Methodist Church. That they are serving over 90 people last night, and they need food that is easy to serve, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, casseroles, lasagnas, things that are easy to heat up and serve to a big quantity of people. The main message is that we are coordinating things as well as possible. The city is out here working to make the roads safe, but the best way to stay safe is to stay home and to follow updates on the city social media, where we can let you know how things are going as far as roads, and also how to volunteer and send donations into our warming centers. I want to give a special shout out to all the city workers who've been out here 24/7. In particular, our public service crews have been out plowing and salting the streets. We've had people here at the Emergency Ops Center who spent the night here, including our 311 operators. So when people do have a question and they don't know where to go, the city's here to answer those questions. And also, if you do encounter an emergency, the whole team here at the Emergency Management Agency is here to help save lives and keep people safe. But we can help people more efficiently if we have fewer incidents. So again, if you can stay off the roads and stay home, that's the best possible, most safe thing to do. And we are here, I've got people, Chad Weth here, our Director of Public Services, and Mark Wilbanks from Knoxville Fire Department, and Scott Erlin from the Police Department. If you have any questions, other things we can answer for you.
Some people think, obviously, when the snow stops, the roads will be able to get plowed, but with this Arctic air now moving in overnight, will that calcium, I know salt stops working when it hits a certain temperature, will that calcium help melt the snow and ice with this negative temperature that's coming in?
The calcium helps, but it doesn't help when it gets down to single digits. Chad, do you have the specifics on that? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, salt will work usually around, upper teens. When you got the calcium, it'll get down to 10, 12 degrees. But yeah, when it gets super cold, everything struggles to melt the snow. But yeah, the calcium is designed to add to the effectiveness of salt. So it was used with all of our level 1 and 2 rounds this morning.
Absolutely, and I know you said you guys are working on those level 1 and 2 roads right now. Is there any estimation or plan of when those kind of back roads, people that live in neighborhoods and suburbs, are going to get any treatment or things like that?
Yes, our plan is once our level 1s and 2s we get through those rounds is to at least go in and plow the level 3 streets. So we should get to that this afternoon, going into this evening. Yes.
How long are those warming centers staying open for?
Do you know, the main focus is that people have a place to stay overnight, and they're going to remain open as long as we have these very, very frigid temperatures. This is why it's really important to people to send donations of food, because we don't know exactly. It could be several more days, depending on the weather.
Yeah, we're not really looking at any relief until Thursday sometime, so hopefully they will be able to maintain status quo through Thursday sometime, and then we'll see what the temperatures look like over the weekend from there.
And then the emergency operations center that you guys have here, the collaboration going, how long, as of right now, are you guys planning to keep that open and in effect?
We'll keep the EOC open as long as the community needs us to. But again, probably at least 3 or 4, maybe 3 days. I don't, we'll just have to wait and see. But again, really appreciate everybody donating their time, their money, their food to the warming centers. That has been a great example of our volunteer spirit. And so if we appreciate the word getting out to people can send more food, particularly to Magnolia Avenue United Methodist Church. They're currently serving a lot of people, and so we welcome the community support to make sure those people have the food they need. And there's more information online on the city social media about what kinds of food, what kinds of other donations of supplies are most needed.
You talked about the warming center. You had hundreds of people who have come last night. With the temperatures getting even lower now, are you guys expecting even more people to be showing up?
We have no way to predict that. I mean, I think with all that snow, people who had no other options were there last night because the snow, it wasn't like it was warm last night, and it's just going to get colder. So perhaps last night, 123 people will be about the same, but we just don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, thanks to the Joint Office of Housing Stability, we have more warming centers open in a coordinated way, better than ever before. Because I know this community is generous. We look after our neighbors, but people don't always know how to help. And so now we have a focused way to help those most in need, and I'm really grateful for that.
And I have a question. In terms of like accidents and in the roads, can you just give us an image of what's happening these days?
Well, we're actually just discussing that. We don't have an exact number of the amount of crashes that we responded to yesterday. We're working on getting a number. I can tell you without any question that the two main issues we dealt with throughout the day, that's not just us, but the folks over at KFD, was disabled motorists and crashes. Until the tragic fatal accident on I-75 North, we had been fortunate that there were no serious injuries in any of those crashes. But without question, those were the two biggest issues we dealt with. I also want to take this moment to say that from our end, exceptionally proud of the work of our officers, of the firefighters and medical personnel with KFD and all of public service crews. There was not a call or issue that our folks, that KFD's folks or public service was not able to respond to yesterday. So exceptionally proud of the work of everybody on the city side to be able to respond to the issues as they popped up.
And for both fire department and KPD and everybody, actually, I mean, we're all asking people to stay at home and people are not going to work, but you guys are you overstaffing? What's happening on your end with your people?
I'll let you go first there.
Yeah.
So from a fire department standpoint, we're pretty much running our normal staffing levels. We do have some extra folks in. One of the things that we are doing, we're running quick response vehicles in place of fire apparatus on the road, which is keeping our fire trucks in service for serious emergencies such as fires or rescues. The quick response vehicles are trying to run the majority of the motor vehicle accidents as they can and the emergency medical calls. So yes, we do have some additional staffing going on, and we will probably continue that through sometime Thursday. It just kind of depends on what the road conditions look like. If Chad's folks can get some of the side streets cleared, we're going to have areas that are going to be problematic like they are every storm. We have areas in South Knoxville that are very shady that give us trouble sometimes. North Knoxville does the same thing. So it's going to be very dependent upon what the temperatures do, what roads are able to get cleared, how we do our staffing. One of the biggest things and one of our biggest fears, obviously, is a structure fire right now. Getting apparatus to a structure fire would be extremely difficult for us. That is not an easy task, so we will add extra apparatus responding as needed, and we certainly want to caution the community to use good heating safety right now. Thinking about where you're placing your space heaters, because I know with the temperatures dropping tonight, people are probably going to break out some extra space heaters, right? So good placement of your space heaters, no extension cords, no candles, things like that. Good fireplace safety, making sure that you're using good hard wood and that you're using your screens and all of that kind of stuff on your fireplaces. And lastly, when you use your fireplace, carbon monoxide safety is very important, making sure that your home has good ventilation, because you're going to want to button it up as tight as possible, and you do need a little bit of ventilation inside your home.
Speaking of KPD staffing, we're all hands on deck right now. We're obviously operating in the snow plan and have been operating under our snow plan since 6 a.m. yesterday. What that means in large part is that we're in two-person cars to minimize the amount of fleet that we have and still be able to respond appropriately to any emergencies. We also are asking supervisors to closely monitor those calls for service, and if there are certain non-emergencies that we can divert to another direction, maybe through teleserve or maybe a call back later, we're going to do that. Again, like I said yesterday, we were still able to, there were no calls that we weren't able to respond to within the snow plan. But the other part of this is we're also all hands on deck to make sure that we're providing everything that we need for our people, to make sure that our people can get home, to make sure that our people can get in, to make sure that our people are okay. So we, in addition to the EOC that's operating and been operating over here, we've had our own KPD Operations Center going in conjunction with that to be sure that we're nimble and can respond appropriately to any issues that pop up. I know that Assistant Chief Wilbanks just hit some safety tips. Something that I would be remiss if we didn't mention is our biggest concern moving into the next couple of days is as Chad's crews get to work and as nature takes its course and some of the stuff starts getting off the roads and clearing, we want to ask motorists to don't get too confident too quickly. We really believe that ice and black ice is going to be a persistent issue over the next couple of days, and you're going to look at the roads and everything's going to look fine. But again, we're going to just encourage folks to, with the temperatures the way they're going to be, just please don't get too confident too quickly, because that's really our biggest concern over the next couple of days with the ice.
I just have one more question. Obviously, those disabled vehicles that are left on the side of the road, are you guys running into any issues when you're going to clear the road with them? And what should folks do as far as picking back up their disabled vehicles?
You guys, I know you're tagging them. What is it? I don't know what
we're
the
tagging the
rest of
vehicles as we find them sitting on the side of the road. But that's a great question, because last night on my way home, I noticed that there were several cars along Central Avenue Pike that's just sitting on the side of the road. Most of those vehicles had already been tagged, so they'd been checked. But yes, it does create a couple of issues. One, traffic flow issues when those vehicles are on the side of the road. We would encourage people to try to get them when it is safe to do so, or call a towing company to come out and get them. As far as clearing the roads, I'll let Chad can answer that.
We've not had any real issues with them. Most of the time they get off to the side of the road. There has been some calls, of course, through the EOC that we've called and had to go help some folks get out of the road so they can be safe. But at this point, that's not been an issue.
Is there, what is your biggest concern, and what would you like to advise people for the next couple of days as well, please?
Yeah, I think, the biggest concern, again, is going to be those back roads, the ones that aren't treated or plowed. They are just, with the temperatures going down in single digits, they are going to be, in some cases, maybe even impassable. Obviously, you get single-digit temperatures. You're also worried about people's homes and pipes freezing and things of that nature. So those would be my biggest concerns. Again, if you can stay home, please do, and let our guys, we'll keep staying at it and until we get everything in good shape again.
I'd just like to add that, the city of Knoxville, this is part of what we do, and we do have a snow plan, and we're operating those snow plans. And I've already gotten some requests for, like, when are you going to come, treat this road, that road, this road. We will get there as soon as we can. Level 1 and Level 2 roads are the priority because that's how we need to get people to be able to get to hospitals and that sort of thing. So I would just ask the people to be patient and be a good neighbor. If you have a shovel and someone else doesn't, and you have an elderly neighbor or someone who's sick and needs some extra help, look after your neighbors. And I know we already are doing that, but be patient with the city workers. We're getting things done as fast as we can, and just continue to be a good neighbor.
Thank you, guys. All right.
And that is Knoxville Mayor India Kincannon, as well as numerous other officials from, fire department, police department as well, and really just saying, practicing that patience. There's no cure-all that's going to get rid of all this ice and snow on the roads. Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley, that's why we have a first alert weather day tomorrow as well. Stay home. They're working as fast as they can to get everything cleaned up.
Yeah, they mentioned 24 service trucks have been out since 4 a.m. Just wait on those back roads. They are working. They're going to get there when they can. They've added calcium to their salt trucks to help be more effective in this cold weather. So we are keeping an eye on that first alert forecast for you. They mentioned over 1,800 calls for emergencies, but we're just following that one deadly crash on I-75 last night. So they do need more volunteers for these warming centers. Go to the WVLT News app. We have ways that you can help out these warming shelters, assist with food. That's only if that you can get out safely yourself. They want you to come out and help.
Yeah, definitely. Our Lexi Lepoff was at that press conference. We're going to hear from her coming up in the next half hour. We're going to be right back with another look at your first alert forecast on this WVLT First Alert Weather Day. You're watching WVLT News.